If locals report unusual sounds from the forest at night, and some have even seen strange creatures on their roofs, trees, and in abandoned houses, don't scoff at the phobia. There's always more mystery in the woods than it seems. You're on the Top Facts channel, and today we're going to open your eyes to some terrifying episodes involving real monsters. They've all been caught on night vision cameras, captured by eyewitnesses on their phones, and you and I have the right to doubt and to believe that these horrific creatures are all alive. On Easter Sunday in Ponta Grossa, Brazil, a homeowner was on the phone when he heard a noise behind the wall. Thinking it might be a thief, he started filming, but a strange creature came into the camera. Although the figure was hidden by darkness, the silhouette looked like a hybrid of a human and a dog. The local dogs started barking at the same time, meaning they perceived the stranger as a threat. The creature retreated, but left us wondering why it was hanging around the house and what it was. This video was uploaded by an anonymous user in June 2015. He was disturbed by a noise on his roof. The person thought there was some kind of animal messing around and went out to take a look. Things are already unsettling at dusk, but what he saw on the roof looked nothing like any known animal. The creature seemed to be more frightened than the eyewitness himself, and after being revealed, decided to run away. Who do you think it was? A couple of hikers were sleeping in their tent at a California campground, and in the middle of the night, they were awakened by a loud noise that sounded like snoring or quacking. They went out to reconnoiter and saw some kind of body on a rock, very much like an alien, only some kind of damaged one. It kept making noise, apparently not noticing the humans, and it was crackling like a radio transmitter. The video was released in March 2022, and no one has reported similar creatures since. Who knows, maybe it was a downed spy in a hurry to relay information to his Alpha Centauri. In the morning, the last thing you expect is to encounter an indeterminate creature on your plot of land. A man was strolling through the yard, catching the first rays of sunlight, when suddenly a tiny cryptid jumped out right in front of him and quickly circled the porch. What it was, they never found out. It looked like a big frog, but why did it move like a monkey? All that was left was to zoom in and slow down the video to get something to hold on to. On December 20th, 2023, a night camera video captured figures that resembled humans, but behaved like giant frogs. First, they sat on the bank of a pond, and then they synchronously jumped into the water. Just as mysteriously as they appeared, they disappeared into the night, but the situation doesn't look normal. Humans don't move like that, and frogs don't come in this size. If this is a nighttime acrobat show, they would have had a long time to practice. If you happen to know anything about this, share it with us in the comments. Interestingly, the world is full of people who, when they learn about paranormal phenomena nearby, don't run away, but set out to find them. When rumors of ghosts near a river in Cambodia reached these guys, they didn't hesitate and set out to find out what this haunted place was all about. Several incidents have actually occurred here, and it has since been believed that the souls of tragically deceased people gather at this spot. What do you think? A group of explorers saw something that looked like a man with a flashlight who was sitting quietly on the shore and didn't react to them. However, as they fearlessly approached, the figure turned around and they were stabbed with horror, because staring back at them was the swollen, bloated face that drowning victims often have. It became downright creepy when, as the strangers approached, the figure didn't move. The ghost simply leaned forward and disappeared into the river. Footage from a security camera appeared on TikTok, showing a pair of unidentified humanoid beings wandering through the Blue Ridge Mountain region of the Appalachian Mountains in the eastern United States. One of the creatures is holding something in its mouth, It's unclear if it's a child or prey. Doubts about their extraterrestrial origins were dispelled when those lamp-like eyes stared in the direction of the camera. Many thought these creatures resembled the dark spirits of the Skinwalkers, who could transform into humans or animals. While the family was relaxing and having fun in nature, a surveillance camera was running and captured a strange creature. Some kind of shadow was sneaking behind the backs of the people, and it seemed like the creature was watching them from afar. At first glance, the figure resembled a human, but given its body language and silent movement, one might suspect that there was something fishy going on. So why hide behind the trees? We'd hear a human being, and not even a dry leaf crunched. What do you think? Is it an alien or a trick of the eye? Another Skinwalker caught on camera in August 2020. What would make such a creature come out into the daylight? The video was shot in a remote area of the forest, where the blogger was going to do a story about his expedition to an abandoned cabin. The clip is short, and nothing can be added about the nature of this pale creature. Only the semblance of a hump suggests that his health was not excellent. The author of the following story heard a hissing noise from an abandoned well and thought some animal was stuck there. He headed down there to investigate and maybe even help. But out of the darkness, glowing eyes suddenly looked up at him. He saw the face of a supernatural being, and of course, he was frightened. Think about it. Who could be hissing in the well, and why make contact with it? What would you do? Call an alien rescue service. A group of students went into a cave to shoot a video for their project. Suddenly, they heard a noise from a crevice, and although they didn't take it seriously, they went over and shined a light between the rocks anyway. That's when a very suspicious head appeared. An unknown creature was looking right at them. Naturally, they did what any sane person in their shoes would do. They ran away. If you can identify the creature, let us know in the comments, and we have a little hint from the author of the video. He thought they met a gray alien. A group of friends were walking through the woods in the pre-sunset hour, and suddenly they noticed movement in the bushes. Everyone kept their distance for a while, but started recording video. Soon, a terrifying humanoid dwarf appeared before them. Its large head with teeth and eyes thundered on the body of a dwarf. We can well state that this creature does not belong to our animal world. It's good that it didn't attack the boys, but it couldn't help but frighten them. Would you have stayed with it? The guys in the motorcycle club take a new trip every month to uncharted territory. Driving through Washington Forest in Virginia, they stop to look for a better route. Suddenly, a creature moved toward them out of the thicket. One of the boys had quick access to a camera, and he was able to capture the low human figure with a long beard. It resembled an orc shaman in some ways, and the group froze in surprise. Only one Daredevil decided to see where the shaman would run and approached him. Surprisingly, the creature's reaction was excellent. He ran in the opposite direction. Maybe he wanted to steal the helmet while the guys were slowing down. Fresh video, taken in January 2024. No one has any explanation as to what mythical creature was roaming the woods. It looked like it was crossing a ribbon labeled "No Entry Allowed." Without any effort whatsoever, someone was tumbling large trees and then tossing the log onto the road like a feather. No human could handle this alone, but that's if it wasn't a human. So why would a large gorilla, for example, be clearing debris? There are a lot of missing pieces to our puzzle. People walk in the forest in broad daylight and fear neither attacks nor strange phenomena. But sometimes some people get lucky and something outrageous happens right in front of their eyes. A man filmed this scene in the Canadian province of Alberta. In front of him flashed a fleeing creature, clearly humanoid type, and his head was very large and irregular, non-human shape. Its body, on the contrary, was too thin and bony. However, when the strange creature realized that it had been spotted, it ran away. A man was riding a motorcycle with a friend. He must have had his phone in his hand, otherwise, how could he have turned on the camera so quickly on the move? Against a white wall in the darkness of the night, they saw an unusual shadow. In height, it matched the figure of a child. But most likely, it was another creature. Its head was large, and its arms and legs were very thin. The only question is, was it just a shadow, a phantom, or was there really an alien hiding there who didn't find the right address? Do you think an ordinary shadow could be so distorted? Are we dealing with other worlds? We are about to be shown two miracles at once: invisibility and teleportation. It happened on the grounds of a museum of antique weapons. A video recorder captured a ghost or creature in a magic cloak. Look, a humanoid figure moves in front of the camera, but you can only see the outline. A human cannot move in such leaps and bounds, and as far as I know, the invisibility cloaks from the Harry Potter movie are not yet on sale. What if it's the spirit of a soldier or armorer assigned to the museum? How far do you think absurd hypotheses in filming like this can take us? The forest, I suspect, is inhabited much more densely than we realize. This footage was shot in Poland in June 2022. A young man was walking back from a party slightly drunk, but the noise he heard was clearly unfamiliar. Who might be screaming at night in the woods? Nocturnal predators, large birds or wolves, foxes or bobcats, but their sounds we can categorize in some way. And this scream was very scary and real. However, the guy turned on his camera and walked forward until a very strange silhouette flashed in the lens. It didn't look like a normal animal either a heron or a horse. Who knows what it was? But then it became clear that there was only one way back. The guy ran away, but he never found out what he'd filmed. On the other hand, no one would have believed what he said. Mysterious creatures are suspicious of their atypical appearance and are more likely to hide than seek to please the camera. On November 23, 2023, a video of a Bigfoot appeared online, as if he was hiding from being filmed. The camera followed him and he followed her using a tree as cover, and he was watching, apparently, with curiosity. People are so hungry for scary sightings that they're installing security cameras in the Amazon rainforest. What are they photo hunting for? Creatures outside of the wildlife world or spirits? These authors managed to find something inexplicable. A scarecrow-like creature appeared for a second and immediately disappeared. Its appearance was more reminiscent of the mythical demon Baphomet. How do you know? Maybe it was a masquerade in costume who came at the appointed hour at the gathering of the sect. Just imagine that real ghost hunters exist, and where else would they work but Mexico? The team is called to a remote village to deal with a terrifying creature. In an abandoned cathedral, there is a demonic entity described as similar to Belphegor, an Old Testament-tailed humanoid with goat horns who teaches people all sorts of crap and is incredibly agile. And since then, no one has dared to enter the territory where the evil force is ruling. The hunters arrived at the site with powerful flashlights and live firearms. And yes, the building was in a depressing state, although there were still church signs on the walls. Apparently, the demon was not afraid of them. After a while, the people felt a presence, and through a hole in the ceiling, a hideous face peered down at them. Do you believe that's even possible? With the most serious intentions, The hunters drew their weapons and began to pursue the creature. But after a few seconds, it disappeared into the darkness. I was left with these questions. How can people with ghost hunter status legally use guns? What kind of nightmare was this? And did the village ride itself of the haunting? This extremely disturbing video was uploaded in January 2020, the author wishing to remain incognito. Apparently, he was afraid that the female figure standing at the top of the tree would find him and punish him for filming it. Things took a serious turn when she began to throw her hands up in the air, and then demonic voices began to sound. Unbeknownst to her, it was the neighborhood dogs or the woman herself that howled. But in the next clip, where the cameraman came a little closer, it was confirmed that the voice belonged to a witch. It's a frightening phenomenon, don't you think? Plus, the location where it happened was also kept secret for security reasons. In traffic, we all start looking around out of boredom, but this episode won't let you get bored. Seeing a creature that looked like it had just left hell, the girl driver pulled out her phone and started recording. It was sitting on the branch of a big, sturdy tree like birds do. But you can't call it a bird. What we have here is a tiny little man with the legs and the wings of a bat. To be honest, I've never seen anything so ugly and scary in my life, although he flew away after a few seconds. But the video remained, and with it, the mystery. Who was it? A vampire mutant or a crab fairy? The cautionary tale appeared on YouTube in January 2024. The family learned a vital lesson. Never leave your car, no matter what you encounter on an unfamiliar country road. On an empty country road in the evening, they noticed a suspicious figure lurking in the bushes and not responding to signals. The two men carelessly got out of the car and provoked a real horror. They were frightened of who they found there and rushed back in panic. But the situation escalated when the entity tried to get into their car. If such paws lay on your windshield, what would you do? The assumption that they encountered a werewolf seems reasonable to me. And besides, we don't have the finale of the video. I'd personally want to make sure they left the scene. There are paranormal enthusiasts out there. These guys drive around areas where complaints or reports come from in an attempt to uncover ghosts or expose hoaxes. The two investigators were driving past an abandoned building, and in the headlights they spotted a large, animal-like creature. They took out their flashlights and drove closer. You and I see it too, but we're not alone in a car on an empty road at night. The hairy beast moved slowly and didn't seem frightened. The driver tried to keep his distance, but the passenger started to panic. The next morning, they picked up a few more people and went there again, but they didn't even find any tracks. A woman encountered a creature on the road that is usually seen in ghost movies. Surprisingly, she started filming it instead of running. Maybe the gadget in our hands makes us feel like we are armed and can call on the whole world for help. The creature could not be seen well in the dark, and the quality of the footage leaves much to be desired. However, it had no patience and decided to lunge at the woman. This was the moment to drop everything and run. Two friends went for a walk near an abandoned house and soon felt they were being followed. They were clearly being chased by some figure. Then they decided to take a video just in case. Soon, a mummy-like silhouette with spy-like features came into the frame. At first, it lurked around the corner, and then, when it realized it was being filmed, it headed straight for them. The eyewitnesses ran away in fear, and we don't know what happened next. The mummy looked very large, and its intentions were clearly not friendly. In any case, if someone or something is chasing you, it's best to get ahead of the situation and get to safety first. The best encounter with a monster is an encounter with the monster's breathless body. A delivery courier came across this beast in northeastern Brazil. It looked like it had been hit by a truck, and the body had been lying on the side of the road for a long time. Still, it didn't look like any known predator in the area. Even a large wolf or lion wouldn't have looked that bad. The only thing we can confirm is that it was most likely the sad end of some hybrid animal, not a ghost or an unclean force. Those are more likely to slip away. What would you think if you came face to face with a creature like this? Even if your campsite is visited by an ordinary lion, this is an extraordinary experience. This is nothing less than a demonic version called a Wendigo. This is the name of a cannibal spirit in the incarnation of a wild animal that represents insatiable hunger. In any case, if you encounter an animal you can't identify, it inspires fear. And if you've seen a couple of werewolf movies before, the case is really trashy. In fact, this is the most unbelievable plot of the selection. Do you think you'll win between fear and hunger? And what it can come to eat everything found in the wild for survival, without even knowing what it is. These men discovered a creature that looked alien, but was the only prey of the day. Hunger, they say, is not an aunt, but an evil uncle, so they didn't think long and boiled the monster along with its skin. I personally think this is some kind of elaborate fake. You and I are not used to eating unknown foods at all, not to mention that it might not be that tasty at all. It looks, frankly, unappetizing. But if they have a phone to take a video and the internet, then it's not about hunger at all. Two young men were walking past a concrete barrier by a shallow river and saw something that looked like a doll there. It turned out it wasn't a body made of plastic. The corpse of the strange creature looked like a toy, but it didn't want to play with it at all. It had a human face, a tiny body and toes, something similar to the creature that was eaten in the previous clip. But since this body was lifeless, there was no one to get information from. Even to give a name to such a creature, no one took it. In general, if you see something strange from afar, be prepared that it may turn out to be something scary. That's all for today, friends. This was Top Facts. Subscribe, give us a thumbs up, and leave comments to help promote the channel. Thank you all very much, and I recommend you check out our previous top episodes right now. You'll enjoy them.